Okay, well, we've been home a few weeks from our travels now, and we're back into the routine of everyday life. I'm back into enjoying the English spring and countryside and even some sunshine today. And one of the things that's part of our routine of life is we're back into cooking, etc. now. So I'm going to do a few more of the recipes I used to do. So today I'm going to show you how to make these very simple shortbread biscuits. 3 ingredients, let's get on with it. Okay, well here's the 3 simple ingredients then. First of all, 250 grams, which is 9 ounces of plain flour. You can sift that, be great. If you don't sift it, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to make that much difference. 175 grams, which is 6 ounces of unsalted butter here. And then 75 grams, which is 3 ounces of caster sugar, and you need a tiny little bit of sugar left over. A little bit of granulated sugar is best, just to put on top of the biscuits. But again, if you haven't got caster sugar, don't worry about it, just use normal sugar. It's not going to make a massive amount of difference. Okay, well, in addition to the 3 ingredients there, we just need the few things to make it. So we've got a sharp knife here so we can cut them into some biscuit thickness shapes at the end. We've got some cling film here to actually wrap the mixture up in shortly, so we can chill it down for half an hour before we cut the biscuits. And then we're going to put them onto these 2 baking trays here, which I've already lined with a tiny bit of parchment paper. And then to mix it all up in, we've got this mixing bowl. Okay, so always best to get the ingredients and all your stuff ready first, and then you can just enjoy the process of making it. Okay, so we've got our 3 ingredients here, very simple. Pop the flour into the bowl like so. Put in the melted butter, well, not melted butter, the butter at room temperature. And then we just got to work this now with our fingers until it resembles fine breadcrumbs. Okay, we can see that's coming together quite nicely. It's not quite fine breadcrumbs yet, but they're quite lumpy. So let's pop in the sugar now, and then let's just finish the mixture off. Now at this point, we'll mix that in, and if it starts to, if it feels a bit dry when we come to form this shortly, then we can always add a tiny little splash of moisture to it by way of a little bit of water or milk, but this should be fine. Right, that's all mixed in, and you can see sort of the consistency we've got there. Okay, now what we need to do now is we need to start to shape this, and what we're actually looking for is the shape of a sausage. So let's see if we can get this together. Let's get it into a bowl first. Now look, and you can see it's starting to come together now. We want it to crumble apart like it is. Look, see that crumbling apart there? That's what we want, because that's what makes it into a beautiful shortbread biscuit. And push it down to the bottom there. And the heat of your hands actually really helps this, because this actually helps melt the butter a tiny little bit more than it would normally. There you go, look at that. So we've got most of it out of the bottom there. Okay, and what we need to do now, look at that, that's beautiful, that is. It's exactly what we want. So it's just cracking a little bit like that. Let's form it into a sausage shape like that. Okay, cling film there. Let's put that down on the work surface there. Now you can, some people would butter the surface out here, flour the surface out here and that, but we don't need to do that. We can just put it straight into that. Okay, let's make that into a bit more of a sausage shape like that. Just tape up the edges there with that, look. Give it a roll and use that. Use the edges there and roll it up like a cracker. Just take that roll and we'll pop it into the fridge for 30 minutes so it goes a little bit harder. And so before I take it out, I'm just going to set the fan oven to 180 degrees centigrade, which on your gas will be Mark 6. Okay, so it's had its half an hour in the fridge and it's quite firm now, and I'm going to cut these into roughly 1 centimetre thick discs now, which is roughly ½ inch, and then I'm just going to peel the cling film off from around the outside of them and then set them onto the baking tray, which is already pre-lined with some parchment paper. Okay, now they're all on, the final thing is just to give them a little top up on each one with some granulated sugar, just a little bit on each surface to make it nice and crispy on top when you come to eat them. Okay, well in they go to the oven now then, which is already preheated. 15 or 16 minutes in the oven, and then check them sort of like halfway through and maybe shuffle the shells around so the bottom one goes onto the top. And then ideally you want them cooked through, and you want them to just be on the verge of browning but not actually taking on any colour. But if they take on a little bit of brown, mine probably will, it's not going to be the end of the world either. And then after 15 or 16 minutes, here you go, you can see they're all nicely cooked now. They look absolutely gorgeous, don't they? Them top ones have taken on a tiny bit of brown, but do you know what? It's still not the end of the world, is it? They're going to be absolutely delicious. Leave them to cool for about 5 or 6 minutes on the baking tray there on the side before transferring them to a rack, just for some further cooling. You know, ideally you want 10 or 15 minutes on the rack here to let them cool off nicely, but you know, there's temptations there. You'll see in a minute them two little ones are already missing because I've ate them. And there you go, a nice plate of shortbread biscuits, you know, absolutely delicious. Enjoy them sitting with a nice cup of coffee. 3 ingredients, nothing could be simpler. Hope you enjoyed it. Join us next time. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, all the good stuff. Thanks very much.